guys, as we heard earlier also from Victoria, we even have for the first time 2 high school pitches. But one of the things I really think that has changed a lot, the Venture Lab this year, not only is the quantity of teams that we've had, but our new addition to the Venture Lab. Our next speaker is a friend and someone who has built 2 unicorns. He is now part of the faculty of the Venture Lab. He's a mentor. I think many of you have been able to get mentorship sessions from him. And so it's a real honor to introduce all of you to Yuri Levine.
Thank you. Really excited to be here. There are some teams that I've seen during my mentorship period, and you know what I really want is that in a few years down the road, some of you is going to be here and do the keynote speech. And I thought about it because everyone knows me as an entrepreneur, but I'm also a teacher, so I feel equally rewarded if I build stuff myself or I guide someone to build it. And I thought about maybe should I deliver one message. I only have about 14 minutes or so. And then I realized, wait a minute, I'm a teacher. Actually, if you're going to implement one piece of what is on this slide, you're already increased your likelihood of being successful. And for me, teaching entrepreneurship is very, very challenging, right? Because if you study engineering, at the end of the 4 years, you're going to become an engineer. But if you're going to study 4 years of entrepreneurship, at the end of it, you're not entrepreneur. You're only entrepreneur when you make the leap of faith and build your own startup. So I wrote a book called Fall in Love with the Problem, Not the Solution, Enamorarte del Problema, No de la Solución. A book that Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple, called the Bible for entrepreneurs. And this is maybe the first message that I have on this slide. And the reason that you want to fall in love with the problem and not the solution. Look, when you focus on the problem is going to serve as the North Star of your journey. And at the end of the day, this journey is about value creation. The simplest way to create value is solve a problem. But your story is going to be way more compelling, right? And this is really, really important. Just imagine that we will be here in 2007, and I will tell you I'm going to build an AI crowdsource-based navigation system, which is actually exactly what I did with Waze, right? And everyone is going to say, oh yeah, very interesting, but no one cares. If I will tell you that I'm going to help you to avoid traffic jams, then you do care. When your customer care, they want you to become successful, and they're going to help you to become successful. And the best way to engage is through the problem and not through the solution. You wouldn't care how Waze work. If this is a rocket science or there is a magical wand behind the scene that makes it work, no one cares. So people don't care what you're doing. They care about what you're doing for them. And therefore, tell the story of the problem. The journey itself, probably many of you already heard me, right? So this is going to be a long roller coaster journey of failures. And the part of journey of failure is really, really critical, right? We are building something new that no one did before. And even though that we think that we know exactly what we are doing, we don't. So we try one thing and it doesn't work. We try another thing and it doesn't work. We keep on trying multiple things until we find one thing that does work. Now, if you realize that this is going to be a journey of failures, then the most important takeaway from that is that you want to fail fast. Because when you fail fast, and by the way, the stack of t-shirts that I have is because I actually have one for each one of them. Make your mistakes fast. When you fail fast, you actually have plenty of time to make another attempt, and another attempt, and another attempt. And the more attempts that you're making, you simply increase the likelihood of being successful. So the biggest enemy of good enough is perfect. And this is really, really dramatic. Just imagine, think of 2 twin sister companies starting the same day, building the same product, making the same progress, even have twins, brother and sister teams, right? Until one day, company A is saying, you know what, our product is not ready. It's embarrassing level. We need to keep on building that, right? And company B is saying, you know what, our product is not ready. It's embarrassing level. We are going to go to the market with it. From this point on, company B is making way faster progress than company A. And this is really, really dramatic at the beginning, and actually every time that you are going to experiment something new, you have nothing to lose. When you have nothing to lose, this is exactly the time that you want to move fast. So, biggest enemy of good enough is perfect. You make your mistakes fast. Now we have another t-shirt. Product market fit, right? Actually, I originally planned to wear all these shirts on top of each other and then start to take them off, and then I realized that, wait a minute, this might take too long. Product market fit is really simple. Product market fit means that we create value to our customers. If you do not figure out product market fit, which means that you do not create value to your customers, you will die, as simple as that. You never heard of a company that did not figure out product market fit. They simply died. How long did it take them to get there? Oh, we don't know, because we never heard of them. But for a second, I want you to think of maybe all the applications that you're using every day, right? From Waze, WhatsApp, Netflix, searching Google, Uber, whatever it is. And ask yourself, what is the difference between any of those today and the first time that you have used them? And the answer is that there is no difference. We are searching Google today the same way that we searched Google for the first time in our life. We're using Waze today the same way. How long did it take them to figure it out? We don't know. Beforehand, we never heard, then they did not change the value proposition anymore. For Waze, it was 4 years. For Microsoft, even though that they are celebrating 50 years old now, it was 5 years. For Netflix, it was 10 years. For OpenAI, for ChatGPT, it was 6 years until we heard the name for the first time. Figuring out product market fit is a long roller coaster journey of failures. Now, one of the key learnings that I have over my years is that I spoke with many entrepreneurs that their startup failed and asked them why, what happened? And about half told me the team was not right. And I kept on asking, okay, what do you mean the team was not right? And what I heard the most is, we had this guy not good enough and this guy not good enough, so not good enough was the main reason that I heard. Another reason that I heard quite often is that we had communication issues, right? Something that I actually called ego management issues. And then I asked them the most interesting question. When did you know that the team is not right? Now, the answer was actually pretty scary. All of them told me within the first month. There was one guy that told me before we even started. And I said, wait a minute, if you knew within the first month that the team is not right and you didn't do anything, the problem was not that the team was not right. The problem was that the CEO did not make hard decisions. Making easy decisions is easy. Making hard decisions is hard. Surprisingly, another t-shirt. Making hard decisions is hard. As someone that leads your startup, all the hard decisions will end up at your decision to make. And you have to make those decisions, because when you don't make that decision, the result is always the same. The top performing people are going to leave. Now, building a startup is a very, very hard journey, right? Not all of them are successful. It's hard if you have the right team. It's nearly impossible if you have the top performing people leaving. One of the, so I mentioned earlier, Steve Wozniak called my book the Bible for Entrepreneurs, and he wrote the foreword to my book. Now, I met him for the first time about 10 years ago at a conference in Guatemala. Now, I'm 60 years old. When I grew up, Steve Wozniak was actually the technological guru of the world, right? He was the guy. That's it, right? And for me, to meet him for the first time in my life was really exciting, right? So what I wanted to do is actually have a selfie with him. And luckily enough, the organizer of the conference arranged for the dinner the night before, and I had the opportunity to take a selfie with him. So I get out my iPhone. I was kind of lucky to have an iPhone. And with the iPhone, if you want to take a selfie, by the way, I am going to take a selfie, you can click right here on the screen. But you can also use the volume button. You can click on the volume button and take a picture, right? And this is exactly what I did. And he said, finally. I said, finally what? Finally, someone using it the way that I meant it to be. Now, if you think about it for a second, then the evolution of the first iPhone was actually a smartphone, a PDA, and a digital camera together, right? This is how we took pictures with digital cameras, clicking right here, where the volume button is. So it made perfect sense, except the fact that nearly no one is using it this way. And for me, that was an inspiration to write one of the chapters in my book that called You Are Only a Sample of One. You are only a sample of one, right? Different people are using product differently. And if you want me, let me try here an experiment. If you are using Waze, raise your hand. So first of all, thank you, right? Waze guides you to your destination by showing you the turns that you need to make on the screen of the phone or on the screen of the car, right? But it also have audio guides. If you are watching the screen, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you are watching the screens. Okay, look around you, look around you. Keep your hands up, look around you. Okay, if you are listening to the audio prompts, raise your hand. Look around you again. By and large, there are way more people watching the screens than listening to the audio prompts, about 75% watching the screens and 20% listening to the audio prompts, and 5% never told me what they're doing. Up until tonight, you did not know that. And to be frank, you didn't care. And from tonight, you do know that, and you still don't care. But if you are building the product and you don't know that there are other people that are using your product differently, you are building the wrong product. And the way that you're going to find out is by watching your users. As simple as that. When you have new users, you watch them. If they're doing exactly what you expect them to do, then you say thank you and you buy them a beer or a pizza or whatever, and you are awesome. But if they're doing something else, you are going to ask them why. And this is how you're going to learn and improve your product. And by the way, when I said reaching out product market fit through iterations and iteration and iteration, these are the iterations. You're watching users, you speak with them, you realize what doesn't work for them, and you fix that again and again and again. Now, one of the things that we have the tendency to forget is focus. And focus is really, really hard. Focus is not about what we are doing. It's about what we are not doing. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. But the not doing is the hard decisions, right? Because we believe at the beginning that we can do everything, right? But the reality is that we cannot. And so in order for us to do what we are aim to do, we need to say no to everything else, right? And this is really, really important. So let me define your company. Your company have two ingredients into it, just two. The value proposition and the target audience. That's it. If you change one of them, it's a new company. If you're telling me, oh, we are good for consumers and also for B2B, no, you are not. You pick one. Picking one is hard. I can figure out where the shirts of hard decisions, and again, it's going to be hard decisions. Now, simplifying is very, very challenging, right? We have the tendency to say, okay, wait a minute, if we are going to add more features, then we are going to make the product better. No, you'll make it lesser. Less is more. It makes it simpler, and therefore more people are actually going to use that. At the end of the day, if you think about different products that you have used every day, and you ask yourself, how many features have I used in this product today, right? And the answer is maybe one. Maybe two, maybe three, that's it. Even though that there might be 737 features in this product. We only use very, very few of them. And so you cannot oversimplify it. Leonardo da Vinci said simplification is the ultimate sophistication. It's hard to make it simple. You actually need to work way harder to make it simple. Now, the starting point for all the journeys are always the same. First of all, validate the problem. Then validate the value proposition. You validate the problem by basically speaking with people, and you tell them, this is the problem I would like to address. How do you feel about this problem, right? Give me your examples of it. And what you really want to hear is their perception of the problem. And then once you realize that, you build something that is not a technology. It's a value proposition. You basically say, I'm going to make this problem go away, and you actually do manual work for them, and you make sure that the problem disappears. And then you see, after we capture the value, if this is the real value for them. And only then you go and build your solution. So technology, the product is not about technology. Product development starts after you launch, not before, after. This is where we actually have real feedback, and you can start to make a move. Now, I know that there are a lot of people here that are looking to raise capital based on a slide where, no, you can only raise capital if you have traction. And you're going to have traction if you go out there and you start to sell your value proposition. So traction wins, no matter what happens. If you have traction, many things will fall into the place, right? So number one, you will have the commitment to go into this journey. Number two, it's going to be easier for you to engage customers and to engage team members. Number three, it's going to be way easier for you to engage investors. Traction wins. And if you are in the lab and you're not getting out to generate traction, then there is no traction. Turns out that the most important behavior of successful startup CEO is never give up. That's it. And so never give up. No matter what happens, you might die, but don't give up. And always be valuable. Your journey is about value creation. If you create value, you will be successful. Thank you.